Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna, and in today's video we are going to take a look at some of the mods that I use in my game. I have a few questions about this frequently, and so I decided to put it all in just one single video and give it a show of the mods that I use on my gameplay. The first one, it's not technically a mod, it's something that a lot of us use, and it's the reshade. So I have my own preset, the Good Day Overall reshade preset. It's available on my Tumblr, and before I continue, all the links about all the mods that I'm going to talk about it in this video will be written on the description down below, so you can check them out. Reshade, basically what reshade does is give you a different look to your game. So I'm going to pause for a bit to make it easier, and here it is. For now, my own reshade, which I use for my gameplays, for my videos and for my photos, it just bumps clarity and vibrance to give a bit more of life to the game itself in terms of colors. So this is without reshade and this is with reshade. I also have a few toggles that I do add. So I have MXAO, which gives those deep shadows to your game, and I have the ADOF, which is basically depth of field, which gives a bit of a blur around and focus your closest item in the game. So it's quite good for photos, and especially if you are a builder, it gives a really good. I do not recommend to use ADOF or MXAO on your gameplay. It's quite taxing on your computer and you probably see a lot of lag on your game. It's very heavy, but if you use just clarity and vibrance, it's quite good to give a bit of a bump on the colors, all that. If you don't know how to use reshade or want to learn how to do reshade, we did a week over at Something Simlish, which is all about reshade. You go check it out, all the videos, and learn how to do that. We have reels, we have the posts, and check it out. It's quite in-depth to know how to use that, how to create your own reshade preset, where I actually show you how to build the one that I'm using now. And we also covered how to add other reshade from other creators, so it's entirely up to you. Next mod that I'm going to show you, and basically everyone uses if they use mod, it's the MC Command Center from Deederpool. It's one of the biggest and honestly one of the bestest mods ever. You can control basically everything in your game with this mod. I'm not going to show you very in depth, there's a lot of videos out there from other creators who did it very well, and it will take long to go through everything. So basically you can do everything. Like I said, you can do cars, you can have a bunch of sheets here regarding your sim. You have the dresser where you control everything regarding the looks of your sim. You can control pregnancy and decide to start a pregnancy. If your sim is pregnant, you can check it out. Who's the father, how many kids, and select, for example, if you want a boy or a girl sim, or how many kids you want to have in that pregnancy. Everything is absolutely changeable with MC Command Center. You have commands for you to do. You can change relationship. Basically everything that you can think about in the game that you want to change, you can do that. So for you to use MC Command Center, you just click it here, and here you have everything there. To set up MC Command Center in your game, you first have to have a laptop where you go to MC Command Center, and then this is where you customize everything in, let's say, overall game file, so not just your sim. And this is quite good to, for example, have a progression in your story where you can create the population and where you do the settings for pregnancy. So for example, if you want your non-playable or playable sims to evolve naturally during the game, and you can set it up everything here on the computer part of the MC Command Center. Another thing that I love to use MC Command Center for is to generate townies. So MC Command Center has the option for you to import from from your library. So you select and you specify your percentage, the types, all of that. You can search by tags, all of that. You can set it up all here. And basically what it does is you go to your library and you save a bunch of scenes here and have custom content or not. Yeah, save a bunch of scenes here from the gallery, or you create your own, it doesn't matter. I like to save from other people, and sometimes mine appear here. And what the MC commander does is it pull out these sims into your game, and you can set it up how the percentage you want for them and all that here. So you just go to MC population settings, you bump it down to import trace settings and the percentage. For me, for example, I have 50%, so that means that the game will generate 50% of the townies, and that the randomly generated by the sims is imported name from my library instead of being generated from the game. This is quite good to have a solid progression and have more different and interesting sims that you actually have control yourself by choosing them. So this is not just all the options that MC Commander gives you. I really think that you should take a look at it and see all the possibilities that you have. You can cheat on relationships, everything. It's entirely up to you what you do with the mod. I just think that this is basically an essential if you want to play mods. The next one is from Weirbezu. I'm sorry, I'm probably botching. I really don't know how to say this, but it's very known as well is UI extension sheets. When what it does, it makes a quick way for you to not have to input all the sheets into the sheet console up there in your game. So this little tab here, you don't have to do that. So instead, pause it for a bit. Instead, what it does is you manually use your right button of your mouse for you to do things. For example, you're low on simoleons. You click with your right button of your mouse and you can just input, let's say I want to add 10,000 simoleons to my household funds. I do that. If you play with Part 2, this is where you add your galactic credits. If you want bits and pieces to create creations, if you have Eco Living, this is where you input them. And you can set it, which means that instead of having 37,261 simoleons, which is currently household funds in my game, I will just have 10,000, or you can add it. So it meaning that it will add the 10,000 simoleons to your household funds. So this is how you do that. Also, if you click here on the weather, this will pop up and you can change the weather for what you want. So I want it to be sunny, and if I do a little bit of a speed up in my game, you see that it stopped raining. It's changing the current weather and it's now cloudy, and eventually will reach the sunny part of the day like you chose to. Another thing you can do is to change the season. So I'm currently in spring and I can change the season here. I don't do this often, honestly. I just use this bar for me to record something very, very specific, but this is good if you want a specific season. For example, if you're on a game file and your game file is in a current season you want to change because you're starting a new family, this is quite good to start with. You can also change the game time, which is the same. You have to put the values. It's quite easy to do and it will speed up. Sometimes will block your sim, telling you right away, and so you won't do anything. You click on, so you just reset it with, remember, the sheet, shift, click your sim and reset object, and everything will be fine after that. Another good thing with it is that you can cheat your needs. So you can right click and input the desired value. So for example, I'm going to put just 10 here and set it. And or you can just, with your left button of your mouse, you can drag it. So I'm going to click here, or I am going to click here, and you see that it will changes. And thing happens, she unfortunately is going to have a little accident, but this is basically how you control that. You can do the same with relationships. So right click and you put the relationships that you want, both for friendship and romance. And this is just the little things that you can use on that. So this is very, very good. It's quite helpful to speed up if you like to use sheets. Sometimes it's just to be a matter of making things easier and not having to decorate a bunch of sheets to input in the console. Next one is from TurboDriver, and no, I am not going to talk about Wicked Whims that we all know. Personally, I find Wicked Whims a bit too much in my game. There are some things that I don't need to see my Sims do. But luckily, TurboDriver did the Wonderful Whims, which picks up a bunch of situations from the Wicked Whims, which I absolutely love. Like the cycle for your sim to have, like the period cycle, attractiveness, and a bunch of little things that I really like in the game. So the first one that we can see is, for example, the cycle one, where you set up the pregnancy settings. Here you have the woo-woo for STD if you want them on and off. You have the pregnancy settings, which is your sim will have your period, and you will adjust the pregnancy with the period. So there are days where your sim will get more fertile and will get pregnant, and the other days where they can't. So it's a bit more real. If you don't want that, you can simply switch it off, and it's absolutely playable that way. You don't have to hear it. I have it sometimes. I have it. There are the game files that I don't have it on, so it really depends on what you are doing. You have the settings for everything this, and you can have, I don't because I have another mods where I have to have this turned off. But for example, if you want to have the risk on, so you will stop having the try for baby interaction. You only have the woohoo, and you just have a dice there. So your sim can get pregnant or not. You can go to, let me show you. You can go to your phone and you have this little icon here, which is the icon for the Wonderful Whims, and you can go to the Wonderful store. This is a rabbit hole situation. So your sim will go to the Wonderful store, like if she goes out to buy the products and items, and a pop-up will appear, and here you can buy all the products that you need. You can check the period tracker here. So if you want to see where your sim is, for example, for story purposes, if you want your sim to get pregnant, you will go there and you check, and a notification will appear, and you can see that she is on day 1 of cycle. You will have PMS, which are a bunch of moods that will be added to your sim, which is quite fun and sometimes quite hard to move on. And you can check that. Here you have the fertility, so you will know when your sim will get pregnant. Or another thing from the Wonderful Whims that I love, and I really, really think that it's a good addition to your game, is the attractiveness system, where your sim will have their own likes and dislikes regarding the other sims. So you'll get at this menu where you can choose the preferences yourself, and you have all the preference by yourself, or you can, which is what I actually do because I like to not have it, not to know what it is. It's basically, it really depends on the gameplay that I'm doing, but I really like to develop choose preferences, and this will create a random preferences for this particular sim. You can do this for other sims and choose other sims, so you can do for everyone else, or you can just do for the sim that you want. And it's quite nice because your sim will have percentages for each of the little things that make a sim attractive to your own sim. For example, I am going to check the sim profile here, and what happens is that I have a new situation on my relationship, which for Jade in particular, she thinks that this sim is perceived as very attractive. So I brought Lydia's to the Caboose Bar together, and this is one of the situations that appear with the attractiveness system, is that you have an alert. When your sim particularly finds a very, very attractive sim, this will pop up in your notification. So it will say that she's super attracted to it, and it will identify the sim, and you have it here. And here you go with a breathtaking encounter. So you get quite a nice mood through it, and if you go to, so when you open your profile, you see it's extremely attractive. So this is what you have with the attractiveness system. She will also have the next day a new notification saying that she's daydreaming about it. So it's quite a good clue for you to progress with your story naturally without having to force relationships. This is what I love about it. There's a lot of other little things on the mod that you can search for yourself. If you wanted to give it a go, these are two of the main things of the mod that I like the most. So just give it a go, explore it, and give it an opinion by yourself. Another mod that is great for story progression and to improve your social interaction and relationships in the game is from Lumpinu, is the First Impressions mod. Lydia here finds Takashi very attractive, right? And she introduced herself to him, and you will open your Steam profile and bam, here you have, these are the first impression sentiments that are generated for your sim, and she finds that is in impact conscious. Sometimes you will have other things that are not as good, and you can also see the sentiments that Takashi here has regarding Lydia. So both of them have the same, which is a coincidence. So let's check another one. So these are some examples of another type of sentiments you can have. So not all of them are positive. You also have negative ones, which is quite good. And if you think in real life, you not always are quite well impressed with someone when you just first met him. So this is a good example situation like that. So immature and nature maniac, this is just some type of things you are, and this is quite good. You have options to keep this fade away with time or just stick with it, and then you need very powerful buffs of sentiment to overcome this one, which is again very natural to real life. The version that I've downloaded is the one that it stays, so it doesn't fade over time like normal game sentiments, and this is really good to progress around the game. You also have like sentiments like crush, so if you instantly find very attractive, you sometimes have a first impression of a crush sentiment, which is quite fun because it's like that natural attractiveness to someone. So this is a very good mod, by the way, with, for example, Wonderful Whims, and have a bunch of situations that will make your sim have a natural relationship in your game. Another mod from Lumpinu is the Woo Woo Wellness and Pregnancy Overhaul, where you have more situations regarding pregnancy and wellness. So you have a bunch of options here, and also on the pregnancy. So Jade here is pregnant now, and we are going to do a little of interaction that is blocked me. So you can go buy something, you can discover the baby's birth gender, you can book a family appointment. So there are a lot of things that you can do. You can go to a birth class. So these are a bunch of situations that you can have here. Also with the illness system, your sim will have, sometimes you come heal and you will have to go to the doctor and you will get prescriptions. So it's very realistic, and it's again a nice addition to your gameplay if you had to have like different stories to it. I really enjoy to have the pregnancy system like this, and it's a very fun mod to have with it, with a bunch of models that you can add or not. It's up to you to choose from what you want to have in your game or not. The next two mods are two small mods from Little MSM, which are the Forced to Leave and the Auto Thermostat mods. Forced to Leave is pretty much explanatory, and it's just forced to leave people out of your house when they don't want to. And the automatic thermostat, it's quite nice because you pay a fee and you this is just one time for you to activate it, and it will automatically change between warmer and cooler depending on the weather and how hot or cool the temperature is. So you don't have to worry about your sims freezing to death or getting overheated inside their own houses. And it's just a nice thing for you to do, for example, in your gameplay when your sim progress in the career and they have a bit more money. This is a nice addiction for it to switch up by itself. It's quite nice to have. Moving on to build mods, which was the first mods I think that I've used the most before going into gameplays, and that is this is actually not a mod itself, this is just a little piece of CC, which is the portrait. I will show you how it works from the start. It's from Ravasheen and is the Frame family portrait. You have two versions of a decoration, and you can choose the background you want. Let's pick up this woodland here. You place it, and once it goes into the wall, it automatically generates your family portrait, which will update while your family grows. So for example, on these walls you can see that this is a normal picture from the game. Here we have little Jade with mom and dad, and here she is a teenage, so I decided to keep them up, and you can notice that I have difference, and here it's just the two of them because dad died, so it's just the two of them. For this to not change while your game progresses, you simply just click the frame and you lock portrait, and this way the photo is locked and it will stay like this forever until you of course unlock it again. So if I go here, or for example if I go here and I set unlock portrait, it automatically goes to the current situation of the household. Another thing that you can do is you can change your frame color, like normally every frame's in the game, and for you to change it, you do another change is that you can change the outfit. So let's say that I want to use the party outfit, and the portrait will switch up to your Sims, or you prefer another pose of your Sims. This will switch it up until you're fine. Once you're happy with it, you can lock it and just keep it up with the game. So the next mods are from Twisted Maxi, and these are all very known if you are a builder. And the biggest one, and the first one I'm going to show you, is the Better Build By, which it's if you like specifically to clutter your houses, which is something that I do. So what this mod does is that the first time you click it up, you go here and you have a new menu, and you have to switch on the Organize Debug. What this does is that organizes all the debug items into specific categories they should be on, so they will appear on the different categories of the game. You have to, once you install this is off, you need to turn it on, exit your game, save and exit your game, and then come back and we'll keep it on. It's really good specifically here. So for example, if you go to the kitchen, you click refrigerators, and you will see all the debug and live items here. Everything will be here for you to use and to decorate. Just keep in mind one thing: everything is here, but not everything will upload to the gallery. So you might use it for your gameplay, but keep in mind that if this specific notification appears, where it said this description appears that the object will not save to the gallery unless Organized Debug is enabled when uploaded, it's a bit of a turn off when people download it, because most people don't use this if they are not builders, so it won't appear, it won't be there. So just keep in mind when you create your builds and share it in the library, and you share it in the gallery, that some things might not appear as well. It's included in this mod, the Spedable catalog, which you click the one key on your keyboard and will expand it. And you can also have the new things, which is move objects on and ignorant locks, which are the custom sheets that appear, and you have that on. So this is the build by. Included here, or you can use it separately, but it's included in a Better Build By, is the free cam mode and build mode. So you know, when you click the tab key and you go into this mode, yeah, this is quite good to have again if you are a builder. And if, like me, you create stop motion videos, it's very annoying to have to go into live mode back and forth just to take a screenshot. So this is quite helpful. It's included in the Better Build By mode, but you can download it separately if you just want this for you to use it. Another mod from Twisted Maxi is the famous tool mod, which allows you to manipulate objects in the game freely without conditioning yourself to the grids. Of course, we all know 9 and 0 keys to go up and down, and we know the smaller and resize naturally from the game. And also, if you click the Alt key, you move around with not being slapped into the grid. We all know that. But what if I want a bit more? What if I want to specifically place things in a place where they shouldn't go? For example, I want to have this little flower pot here on top of my fridge. Of course, it won't go there. So you can do it with the 9. This is usually how I do it, and I place it in place. You can see there's a gap. Object is floating here, so I can use it to just, in build mode, Shift T, and we'll have your extension to open. You can do this in live mode as well, but is in a different way. Will quickly show you after. I want to bring the flower pot a bit down. I will select, it will be green, that means it will be active, and I want to go through a minus 0.02. Let's give this a go and check how it goes. Bam, it's in place. This is great for you when you use a lot of clutter in places and just to do those little teeny tiny moves. Again, on something similar, we have plenty of reels and information about this mod more in depth if you wanted to take a look. This is a very extensive mod. It's very hard for me to explain to you all the little things here, but you can see that you can move, elevate, rotate, scale, and in small increments or big ones. So it's really up to you. Just unclick for you to go away, just unclick and shift it again, and that's your. In live mode, for you to use the tool mod, you shift click an item and the tool menu appears and you do the same thing. So it's the same situation if you just wanted to do it in time. Another mod from Twisted Maxi is the Better Exceptions mod, which is a mod that will prompt when you have errors on your game and will give you the most probable reason for it to happen. This is quite good if you want to have your mods updated, because every time there's a new pack, for example, it will give you a pop-up in the game where it will show you, it will warn you that it was a pack, a new update patch for your game, and it will run and will show you if you have conflicting mods at the time. So this is a really good one if you use plenty of mods, and it also catch up. This is broken CC, so it's a really good one to have on your game. The last one that I have to show you is a very known in the CAS and the story community, which is the pose player. And you can see here that I have two menus that says pose by pack or pose by name. So if you go here, what it does is you load a bunch of poses to your mods folder, and then you have options to make your Sims pose. Some poses really need the teleporter, which is something you can find in build mode, and you download it as well when you do the teleporter. And you need to have the custom content clicked on your filters. You search the Sim teleporter. This is this little statue here, and you place it, you put it in place where you want your Sim to be posing. You clicked it and you teleport Sim you want here, and he goes in place. This is really good to take to use poses for multiple Sims because they will stay in the place you want them, and the pose creators will always give you a notification where to place the teleporter so that your pose is correct, especially when interacting with objects like sitting or tables or something like that. So for your Sim to pose, you will choose the pose you want. So I'm going to give it a go in my introduction pack, and I'm going to select the 3 of them, and you see that a line was created here for the poses. So you just unpause the game and my Sim is posing, and she will stay like this as long as you want. I usually pause so nothing breaks because some glitch might happen and then I'm out of the pose. and then you can just go into live mode and take the photo of your sim. For you to switch the pose, you can click the sim and just click stop posing, or you can simply cancel the situation and pause the game, and she will switch to the next step. And this is basically how you pose in game, and this is quite good if you want to take cute photo sims. Of course, there are other type of poses that you can use in CAS and all that, so that is quite an extensive video for me to go over now. So if that's something that you want me to cover, let me know and I'll do a separated video all about the poses and all about that. But basically this is what it is. It is a good thing to have on the game. Okay, I said that it was the last model one, but I forgot. I have another one that I will show you, and this one is from Wirbisu, again, the same creator from the UI extension sheets, and it is the more columns mod. You can have usually on the game gives you 2 columns, and with this mod you can choose between to have 3, 4 or 5 columns. I used 4. It's enough for me. I don't have, although I have a bunch of CC, I don't have that loads and loads of CC, so this is enough for me. And you just download one of the versions. This is very helpful if you're one of those people who have millions of CC items in your game. This is very helpful because you don't have to scroll infinitely from here. So moving on now for a bit of CC that it's more, for me, it's more like mod type, not actually, it is CC, but for me it functions a bit because it's an override, so it's a default situation, and you have the options of default and non-default when you download, and they are both from MagicBot and are feet and feet. So if you don't know, I have a story over on Oriana SimScript, and I do have a sim, so I take a bunch of photos, and I do use the default teats by MagicBot because I think they're more pretty when you take the photos and all that. So it's just a matter of you wanting realism or not. And basically what it does is that your teats are much realistic, and not as much that it clashes with the rest of the game, because for me it still feels very natural with the game, but it kind of looks a little bit better than the original sim feet. The feet is another thing. It's where you have your sims feet is not like a chunky situation. What it does, it gives you a bit more of a realism of your feet, and they do work with the new nails from the game, and it's just much prettier than having the normal feet on your game. There's a situation with the socks where you have, this is the reason why you have to have the sock one. So for example, if I put here, you see what happens? It's quite weird. No one has like this, unless you have those socks where your toes go in. That's a situation, but it's not the case here. When you want your sims to wear socks without shoes over, you just have to come to shoes and click this icon here, and it replaces it, so it will look like normal feet with nothing on. So with this, you need to put shoes on, and you can put any shoes on top of it and it's fine. But if you want your sim in your outfit to keep the socks on, you have to come here and just put here, and it's completely fixed. Well, to finish it up, I don't have loads and loads of CC. I have a bunch of stuff that I like to wear on my game, but I can't, if you really want me to go through CC and particularly the creators that I use or where I find them and all that, I can make a separated video for that. But if you want to go ahead and see, I do have a Pinterest over at Oriana Sim Studio, and where I do have board there with all the CC that I use or used before. Sometimes I clean up my CC because I find a new one that I like more and replaced it. So everything that I use in my game or I've used before, it's all here. Some are missing, I'm always updating this, but here is everything that I usually use on my game, like some details and hairs and skins and shoes. So everything will be here. You can see this here is the default teeth, for example. You can see it here. So just if you want to give it a look, I put it all there. Everything is directed to the original creators, and you can check them out there if you want. But again, if you want me to go over this more in depth about all the CC that I use and finding some creations, where I do download them, all that, just give me a shout out in the comments and I'll do a separated video for it. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to receive more videos and get a notification every time that I post a new video. Again, I do builds, I do gameplays and all that. So, and let me know what you think. Let me know if you want me to go more in depth with some of the mods specifically, and I will do a few of that. And so I'll see you next time. Bye.